Hi everyone, it's Graham again and welcome back to my channel. So today I am here with, I think it's part 4 of my November book haul. We'll go with part 4. I'm also going to call this book haul my Right Royal Affair because most of these books are about the royal family, are kind of loosely based around them, or have been written by people who have written books previously that are about or are inspired by the royal family. And they may not necessarily be the royal family that we have now. So that might give you a clue as to at least one of the books. So my husband Duncan and I recently watched series 4 of The Crown on Netflix, and we absolutely adored it. It was brilliant. Charles and Camilla didn't come out of it looking, very good though, but yeah, dredging up the past there. We absolutely adored it. We watched the first series of The Crown when it first came out, and then watched half of series 2 when that came out, and then we kind of fell away from it. So in the last sort of week and a half, we have watched the latter half of series 2, the entire series 3, and the entire series 4. We cannot wait for the next series, but apparently it's not going to be until 2023. COVID got in the way, I think. And Imelda Staunton, who played Professor Umbridge in Harry Potter, is going to be the Queen, and I cannot wait for that because she is a fabulous actress. But anyway, without much further ado, let's get into the books. So the first one is one that I picked up because I saw it on the shelf in Tesco's when I was doing some shopping, and it is The Crown. Political scandal, personal struggle, and the years that defined Elizabeth II. So this is the inside history, and it goes from 1956 to 1977. So this is series 3 and series 4, I think, or some of series 4. I'm probably wrong, but yeah, I can't wait to get to the... Right, okay, so this is series 2 and 3, not 4. In this eye-opening companion to seasons 2 and 3 of Netflix acclaimed series The Crown, renowned biographer and the show's historical consultant, Robert Lacey, takes us through the real history that inspired the drama. Covering 2 tumultuous decades in the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, Lacey looks at the key social, political and personal moments and their effects, not only on the royal family, but also on the world around them. From the Suez Canal crisis and the US-Russia space race to the legacy of the Duke of Windsor's collaboration with Hitler, along with the rumoured issues with the royal marriage. The Crown provides a thought-provoking insight into the historic decades that the show explores, revealing the truth behind the on-screen drama. Extensively researched and complete with beautifully reproduced photographs, this is a unique look behind the history that inspired the show and the years that would prove to be the making of the Queen. The Crown is now available to watch on Netflix. I look so forward to getting to this, and Olivia Cole as the Queen in seasons 3 and 4 of The Crown, it's astonishing. She is amazing. Claire Foy was brilliant too, and of course Matt Smith as the DOA, and then Tobias something, I can't remember. If I remember, I'll pop it on the screen. But their performances are all incredible. Incidentally, I know that Imelda Staunton is playing the Queen in series 5 and 6, but I have no idea who's playing the DOA. If I find out, I'll pop it on the screen. So the next one is a work fiction, but I think based on reality. It is The Governess by Wendy Holden. This tells the story of Marion Crawford, or Crawfie, who was the Queen, Princess Elizabeth and Princess Margaret's nanny when they were children. She came from nothing and raised a queen. I can't wait to get to this. This sounds incredible. She holds the future of a nation in her hands. 1933. Progressive young teacher Marion Crawford becomes governess to the little princesses Elizabeth and Margaret. Determined to give her pupils a fun and normal childhood, she takes them on buses, swimming at public baths, and Christmas shopping at Woolworths. During her 17 years at the heart of the royal family, Crawford has a ringside seat at some of the most seismic events of the 20th century. The drama of the abdication, the glamour of the coronation, the trauma of World War II, but her devotion and loyalty count for nothing when a perceived betrayal brings everything crashing down. This sweeping, sumptuous novel brings her long-buried story to life and shines a completely new and captivating light into the world's most famous family. So the what was the word that they used? the betrayal that they mention. Crawford apparently, well, not apparently, I have a copy of it. She wrote a biography of the princesses, and that was seen as a complete betrayal of trust. I've not read that book yet, but I hope to get to it soon. Like every other book in my collection, my TBR, my whole collection is my TBR. Am I right? Does everyone else feel the same? But yeah, The Governess by Wendy Holden. This sounds incredible, and I can't wait to get to it. So the next one is probably a little bit, what's the word? Controversial. It is Wallace and Edward Letters from 1931 to 1937. The intimate correspondence of the Duke and Duchess of Windsor, edited by Michael Block. I am always intrigued that, you know, this man gave up his birthright of becoming king for the love of a woman, and he was snubbed pretty much for the entirety of the rest of his life. And that intrigues me, because the queen we have now was never meant to be our queen. She was always a princess, but this man, Edward, he was supposed to be king. So this changed history, and these are the letters that they wrote to one another. If ever there was a book of which it could be truly said that here is the story the world has been waiting for, this is that book. No romance is more famous than that of Wallace Warfield of Baltimore and Edward VIII of England, who gave up his throne for love of her. And yet, reading the dramatic and long-awaited documents published here for the first time, we are forced to admit that we knew nothing of what really passed between them. For here is the future Duchess of Windsor's diary in the form of her letters to her Aunt Bessie, giving a month-by-month record of her growing involvement with the man born to be king. And here is her intimate correspondence with Edward himself, before, during, and after his reign. These letters speak with a truth and a passion which no mere description could convey. We see Edward as prince and king, obsessed with love to the point of madness, begging to be led by his beloved, writing to her in terms of infantile adoration. We see Wallace as a woman caught up in a great and ultimately terrible adventure, at first naively thrilled to be his favourite and out to help him, later desperate to escape from him and so keep him on his throne. Then, during the long weeks of separation between the abdication and their marriage, we find them expressing their feelings in an exchange of letters unique in the annals of romantic correspondence, letters full of tender longing for each other and bitterness at their treatment by the British establishment and by fate. And then it says, continued on back flap. Michael Block's editing of this sensational correspondence is as informed as it is reticent. His commentary is designed to help the reader find his way. It's sexist there. I'm going to say find their way. It never suggests what the reader ought to think, but after 6 years of research in the Windsor Archive in Paris, why is it not in Windsor Castle? He is now able to present the intimate facts of a unique story. told in the words of the principal actors, as the unimpeachable evidence of what transpired between Wallace and Edward from the moment of their first meeting to the time they became man and wife. I am so there for that. I love reading other people's letters and diaries, so I think it's because I'm nosy. But yeah, this is like the ultimate in that, I think. So that's Wallace and Edward letters, 1931 to 1937. The next one is Prince Philip, the turbulent early life of the man who married Queen Elizabeth II. And this is by Philip Eade. How handsome was Prince Philip? I mean, oh my goodness. Rich in drama and tragedy, here is a mesmerising account of the extraordinary formative years of the man who would marry the most famous woman in the world. Before he wooed the shy but attractive girl who would become Queen Elizabeth II, Prince Philip had a tumultuous upbringing in Greece, France, Nazi Germany, and Britain. His mother, Princess Alice of Battenberg, was born deaf. She was committed to a psychiatric clinic when Philip was 8. His father, Prince Andrew of Greece, already traumatised by his exile from his home country, promptly shut up the family home and went off to live with his mistress, effectively leaving his young son an orphan. Remarkably, Philip emerged from his difficult childhood a character of singular vitality and dash, self-confident, opinionated, and devastatingly handsome. Yeah, Yeah. Girls fell at his feet, and the princess who would become his wife was smitten from the age of 13. Yet alongside his considerable charm and intelligence, the young prince was also prone to volcanic outbursts, which would have profound consequences for his family and the future of the monarchy. In this authoritative and wonderfully compelling book, acclaimed biographer Philip Eade brings to vivid life the storm-tossed early years of one of the most fascinating and mysterious members of the royal family. I cannot wait to get to this as well. It's another chunker, and it's getting added to the to the ever-growing TBR pile. My entire book collection. I may have said that before. So yeah. So the next one is not necessarily about the royal family, but it's written by a very special lady who has had royal involvement her entire life. And indeed, her previous book, Lady in Waiting, was her autobiography, her memoir. And it talks of when she was the lady in waiting to Princess Margaret and how she was involved in Queen Elizabeth's coronation. So it is Murder on Mystique by Anne Glenconner, best-selling author of Lady in Waiting. And the tagline to this is, "There's trouble in paradise." I cannot wait to get to this. And what makes this more special is that it is signed by Lady Anne Glenconner. My husband received an email from Fane, which is like, they do live streams of book events and things like that. And one of the events that was mentioned in the email he received was for Anne Glenconner's new novel. I didn't know that this was being published. And I'm shocked that I didn't know this, because I loved Lady in Waiting so much. And I promised myself that if I ever found out she was writing anything else, I'd be first in line to buy it and to read it. But yeah, he bought tickets. We watched the live stream. Anne Glenconner is such a character. She is just the most incredible human being, and her insights into the royal family, and indeed into life and motherhood, being a wife and living a life on the island of Mystique, and just the things that this woman has experienced and done in her life is just incredible. And I can't wait to get to this. This is a crime thriller, clearly fiction, but it's set on Mystique, which is the island that her husband Colin bought in, I think, the late 1960s. She's written herself into this as Lady Veronica. Now, her middle name, Anne Glenconner, is Veronica, so she's completely written herself into this, and I can't wait to get to this book. The residents of Mystique can only watch and wait as tropical storm Cristobal edges towards them across the Atlantic, growing more dangerous by the day. Most villa owners have escaped the island, but a few young socialites remain, unwilling to let the summer's partying end. American heiress Amanda Fortini is one such thrill-seeker, until she heads out for a morning swim and doesn't return. Amanda's friend Lily is suspicious and scared, and so she calls the person she trusts the most, her godmother. Lady Veronica Blake knows all Mystique's secrets. Her husband Jasper bought the island decades ago, and they invested time, money, and love creating a paradise. Jasper is in St. Lucia, designing a new village of luxury villas but Lady Veronica, V to her friends, catches a plane in the nick of time. She would never desert a loved one in need, and she can keep a cool head in a crisis. Meanwhile, Detective Sergeant Solomon Nile, the island's only fully trained police officer, is on the trail of the killer, but the local community isn't cooperating. He desperately needs Lady V's insights to help him solve the mystery before the storm hits. I just can't wait to get to this. It's absolutely glorious. The naked spine of the book looks like that, and the end papers are a map of Mystique. I'm so excited. This will be a treasured possession forever because it is signed by Lady Anne Glenconnor. I'm fangirling and I love it so much. So the final book in this royal affair is not about royalty, but is written by a woman who has written a trilogy on the Tudor dynasty. It's Mantlepieces by Hilary Mantel. So this is Royal Bodies and Other Writing from the London Review of Books. So it's got royal connections in there. What I love the most is that this is the same sort of colour scheme. It matches the trilogy, which I have, only in colour scheme, not in size. This is about, I don't know, it's about three quarters of the size. It's quite small. It doesn't match that way, but yeah, it matches, so I'll go with it. But don't you hate that when books don't match in a series? I know it's not part of the series, but they could have made it the same thing. But anyway, in 1987, when Hilary Mantel was first published in the London Review of Books, she wrote to her editor, Carl Miller, "I have no critical training whatsoever, so I am forced to be more brisk and breezy than scholarly. This collection of 20 reviews, essays, and pieces of memoir from the next 3 decades tells the story of what followed. Her subjects range far and wide. Robespierre and Danton, the Height Report, Saudi Arabia, where she lived for 4 years in the 1980s, the Bulger case, John Osborne, the Virgin Mary, as well as the pop icon Madonna, and the brilliant examination of Helen Duncan, Britain's last witch. There are essays about Jane Boleyn, Charles Brandon, Christopher Marlowe, and Margaret Pole, which display the astonishing insight into the Tudor mind we are familiar with from the best-selling Wolf Hall trilogy. Her famous lecture, Royal Bodies, which caused a media frenzy, explores the place of royal women in society and our imagination. Here too are some of her LRB diaries, including her first meeting with her stepfather and a confrontation with a circus strongman. Constantly illuminating, always penetrating, and often very funny, interleaved with letters and other ephemera gathered from the archive, Mantlepieces is an irresistible selection from one of our greatest living writers. I've not read anything. In fact, no, I have. I've read The Assassination of Margaret Thatcher by Hilary Mantel, and I really enjoyed that. It's a collection of short stories. But up to now, that's the only thing I've read by her. And I knew that this was being published back in October, and it was because it was Bonnie, I wanted it. Because I'm a bookish magpie, I do buy pretty books. I do judge books by their cover, but I always get to them at some point or other. Can't be the only one that does that. But yeah, so I'm really excited to get to this. Especially, I didn't know that there was a bit about the last witch in Britain. I have to get to that because the idea of witchcraft really interests me. But anyway, I have babbled on now for far too long. You probably need to go have a cup of tea, go to the bathroom or something. So I'll let you do that. I'll let you get on with the rest of your day. And I won't take up any more of your time. Other than to say thank you so much for watching. Whatever you're doing, I hope you have so much fun doing it. Whatever you're reading, I hope you love it. Stay fabulous, be amazing, be yourself, stay safe, and I'll see you again soon for another video. Bye bye.